My name is Hassan. I came to Dancing Rabbit Ecovillage 3 years ago to build natural buildings. I came here from Northern California, where there's lots of building codes. Here in rural Missouri, there aren't any building codes. So I'm able to build with creativity and freedom of design. This wall is an earthen plaster. It's white, which might make you think of a lime plaster. It's actually a white clay that I used here in this. This is an elise, which is a clay-based paint on top of the plaster. Has a high content of our local manure, the clay, and a little bit of linseed oil for durability. Up above them you can see there's this earthen roof. Below this straw and mulch for the spring season, there's some soil, the EPDM pond liner for keeping the rain out, and then upcycled or reused rigid foam below that. I was trained as a woodworker. It's one of my professions, and so a lot of the features in my homes are high-end wood. So this is a handmade door that I made. This is local walnut and oak with some hardware that a local blacksmith made for us. So as you come on in, you can take a peek up at these 18 poles. These are oak rafters that I harvested here on the property. They're resting on each other as a self-supporting reciprocal roof design. So when I start a natural building project, I hold my awareness on reducing the impact, lowering the embodied energy of the building. So I can do that by upcycling, taking materials that are otherwise a waste stream and reincorporating them into the building. So this building has rigid foam tucked into the walls as insulation. That rigid foam was already used in a factory down in St. Louis. So when I talk about health of a building and health of the occupant of the building, there's a few different avenues we can look at. One of the streams of health that I focus on in my building is my mental health. What kind of environment do I want to live in that feels good to me? The soft tones of earth and plaster feel really good. Knowing that it's clay from the ground feels good. For physical health, breathing, respiratory health, I also know that an earth and plaster, as long as there's enough mucilaginous material so it's not dusty, it's going to be a very clean environment to breathe. It's not a cob house, or a cob wall that is, but it's a earth and plaster on top of the wall. So this wall structure is actually pallets. So I reused pallets as the structural member of the house. Tucked rigid foam that was also upcycled, reused, in between the pallets, and then connected them with horizontal wooden lath. I tucked light clay straw behind that wooden lath for more insulation, and then that wooden lath creates a really nice mechanical key for the plaster to adhere to. So I call this a cottage rather than a full-blown house. So in this building, I focused more on the local material side and less of the reclaimed side. So there's local straw bales, local earth to build up our earth and plaster, and local timbers, roundwood posts in the walls. This is a resident of Dancing Rabbit Ecovillage that said, hey, I need a house, build me a house. So we sat down together, designed this house, and here's what we came up with. So this is a single pitch shed roof with a greenhouse tucked on the front. This greenhouse changes the architecture of the shape of the building and captures all of this solar gain. So these are reclaimed patio doors. This wall is an insulative straw bale wall, but with lots of windows. So we can open up those windows when we want the heat to come in. And when we don't want the heat to come in, close those windows, and the wall is still very insulative. So in a straw bale home, we've got 18 inches of insulative wall material. That means we can choose to have really deep sills if we want for more shelving and storage space, or in a lower environment, makes a nice bench. So a natural building is built with a strong focus on low embodied energy. So a straw bale wall usually is straw that has come from a very few miles away, very close to the property. So there's a low embodied energy in that straw. It didn't have to get transported very far, and it was fairly easy to grow. So that's called a truth window. It's a rotted out piece of elm with a piece of glass tucked behind it to show off the straw bale insulation. The footprint of this building is 268 square feet. But with the addition of 130 square feet in the loft and about another 140 in the greenhouse, there's plenty of space. I have a desire to build homes that develop connection with people and at home. So a unique rafter, growing up as a kid, looking up at this unique rafter, building that connection, that relationship with place, I believe can change the mentality of our culture to create a planet and a world that we care about and take care of. And when we talk about the home that we're going to build together, I want it to be eco-friendly for the world at large, comfortable and healthy for them to live in, and not break their pocketbook. That still has a lot of room in that container for creativity and passion, so that when they're living in their house for the rest of their lives and their kids' lives, and they pass it down the generations, they have stories connected to each part of the house. So it's not just some cookie cutter box that could be anywhere in the world.